Time to go through the papers with broadcaster Nichi Hodgson and former political advisor Leon Emirali. First, though, let's discuss a story which didn't make the papers this morning, and that is the reported missile strike from Israel into Iran. Nichi, what do we know?
Well, we don't know very much, really. I mean, what we know is that potentially Iran are 6 months away from developing nuclear weapons. They have been enriching uranium for a few years now. They have this Natanz facility, which Israel know where that is. It's deep underground. It'd be very difficult to target if they wanted to try and take it out, which is one suggestion that actually, if things escalate, they are going to have to try and destroy Iran's nuclear capability. But the problem, of course, is that the genie's out of the bottle. They've figured out how to do it. So if you destroy whatever has already been created, it'll just be remade somewhere else at another time. It's extremely worrying for the region.
I think it is. Leon, Iran has responded by actually saying the Isfahan nuclear facility is intact. This is obviously very impressive. What do you make of what we know now? Because Israel obviously wasn't backing down, convening the war cabinet, almost telling David Cameron what to do, because Netanyahu said he will be in charge of any response from Israel. Also ignoring President Biden as well, saying, please de-escalate this situation. And if these reports are right, Israel chose a different path.
They did, David. I mean, this is a escalation, no doubt, on behalf of the Israeli government. The West, America, UK were all saying, do not retaliate, because, as Nichi says, Iran is not the type of enemy you want to be messing with. They took their time, and it did look like for a period that Israel were going to hold off of these strikes. But I think that the domestic pressure to retaliate after Israel was attacked was too much, and they've now gone ahead and done this. And I think what we could face is a situation where we just see a constant volley of missiles between Iran and between Israel, back and forth, and you've now got this hot war in the region that is the worst thing.
You said domestic pressure. What about political pressure on Netanyahu himself? Because, of course, he's not widely popular in Israel.
Indeed. So Netanyahu, the only thing that is popular in Israel at the moment is this conflict, is the conflict against Hamas in Gaza. And I think for Netanyahu being able to deliver promises on how he's going to tackle the terrorists militarily is what's keeping him in post.
But he's not delivering on the hostages, and that is also causing a lot of upset within Israel, isn't it? I mean, in terms of the way this response has played out so far and what we know about it so far, Nichi, it wasn't the devastating response that the Israeli War Cabinet had been talking about earlier this week and had warned about. It looks at this point that it was a single strike on a very specific, deliberately chosen target. Does that de-escalate somewhat?
It doesn't if Iran thinks it doesn't. I mean,
Iran's playing it down as well, aren't they?
There's a perception gap, but there's also, where the media, we work with a certain limited amount of information about what actually has happened as opposed to what's happened behind closed doors or what they're keeping from us, because actually everybody's starting to panic. Maybe they've got better control of the situation than they make out, but I don't see why they wouldn't be saying that. I mean, I think the difficulty now for the West is how do we continue to support Israel, if we do, in their fight against Hamas, if they are going to willfully ignore this de-escalation advice, which puts everybody at risk.
There are also going to be questions after the United States, because they were given warning about this by Iran. How much warning and how much are they being drawn in? By Israel, rather.
And we'll also talk about the role of Qatar as well, of course, in terms of mediation.